Yo, what's happening, people? And welcome back to the Tiki Taka podcast,
What
where
we
you're
saying?
going to hear hot takes, unbiased opinions, and hopefully have a couple laughs on the way. And as you can tell by the energy in my voice, we told you last week
It's a
that
good
you'd
weekend.
either come here and see us crying or
Yeah,
you'd see
yeah.
us elated. Either way, it was going to be a good episode. And luckily for Arsenal fans, you're going to see us elated. We finally beat Man City.
For fans of football,
Yeah, we finally did it. We finally broke the hoodoo. And yeah, we'll get straight into that game because I don't think there's any other place to start. And yeah, Michael, I mean, where do you want to start? There's players we can talk about. There's Arteta and Pep. How the game went. You tell me.
I want to start with. I guess you kind of have to start with the lineup and just your thoughts and feelings when it came out. Uh, Again, Jesus not down the middle.
Yeah.
Raya again in goal. Jorginho in.
The Jorginho one, I did kind of think that Arteta would try and get Declan Rice further up the pitch,
Mm.
so that when we pressed and they tried to play, we'd have a bit more tenacity and a bit more kind of steel in there to win the ball higher up, like he's in the Community Shield. And I think that worked well. I think that was smart from Arteta to do that again. So I did have a feeling, obviously, if Partey wasn't fit to start, that Jorginho might come in. And I was, since Jorginho's come to Arsenal, I've been quietly impressed.
With what he's done.
Yeah, because I used to really think he was just so suspect. And people used to compare him to Granit Xhaka.
I remember that.
And that used to annoy me because I thought Xhaka was levels above this guy.
Yeah.
But the one thing about Jorginho that we always knew is that he has that mistake. He can get robbed. He's not mobile, as he showed in the North London derby. But yesterday, I thought he played pretty well. Like, a couple of times Arsenal players gave him the ball, and I was thinking, that's just a prime position to get robbed in. And he found the pass.
I can't say that I actually expected Jorginho to start. I was a bit shocked to see him in, but when I saw him in, it made sense. He's one of those guys where, and especially in this game, you always can kind of trust him in a big game. Like, we've seen Jorginho put in so many performances in big games. It's all the other games where it's back and forth, to a lower place side, and it's like, oh, Schlopper's beating for pace there. But in this game where there wasn't that out and out guy who was actually just going to dog on him in midfield, run away from him, out P&P and that kind of stuff, I was like, okay, I can kind of see it. We know how good he is on the ball.
Yeah.
I also liked, as you say, the fact that it freed up Declan Rice a little bit more. And also, it was a little bit different. I don't think City expected Declan Rice to play in the six, but they definitely would have thought that there is like a 90% chance that Declan Rice plays in the six.
Yeah.
And so just this little bit different. Just this, like, you was probably trying to trap Declan Rice, and now it's Jorginho.
Yeah.
Who's super
same with Saka as well.
Yeah.
They probably thought Saka was going to start.
I think so, and in fact, that's a good place to start then, next to the lineups. What do you make of all of Arteta's games? If they are all of Arteta's games, do you believe in the conspiracy? You mentioned to me, Saka coming off the bus, headphones in.
Sky had their camera on him.
Yeah, toilet.
Look who's arrived.
Yeah,
look
you
who's
know what
here.
I'm saying? It's as if he's going to start the game.
And
he doesn't start the game, and we've seen it vice versa on other side. Even Martinelli, for example, coming back. There was no training photos. There was no, Martin,
I tweeted on Friday, how has no one asked Mikel about Martin? Everyone asked about Partey, Saka. I was like, how has nobody asked this guy about Martinelli?
It was so hush-hush. There wasn't a big deal about it. And he's right back, 45 minutes, he's right back in the team. So do you believe in the, not conspiracy, but like, is it all planned by Mikel? Is even the marketing and media?
Yeah, I think a lot of, I don't think Mikel will do this every week against every team that we play. We know Mikel does play a bit of mind games with his injuries. He does like to keep opposition managers guessing. But I think because of our record against Man City, his record against Pep and Man City, he was trying to look for any small margin that he might be able to gain. And if he can make Pep think that Saka's going to start on the right, Pep's going to think, well, maybe I need to put Ake there. Who do I play at left back? And then for Pep to base it on, I think Xhaka's going to start, and then for him not to, I think that just gives Arteta a small margin of like, okay, now Pep has to react because he's not expecting.
I was going to say this is if buts and maybes, but do you think that because Jesus started on the right that he switched out Guardiola and Ake? Because that's a very weird decision.
I mean, we both said it. We were like, to have Guardiola and Ake, but not play Ake at left back.
Yeah, not play Ake on the outside.
Yeah, and Guardiola did all right. Like, I saw he put some wicked balls in the box.
It was, he was all right.
But yeah, ultimately we'll never know, right? We'll never know. But I think it was good, and I think Arteta needed to kind of, again, keep them guessing about Martinelli. Like, is it going to be Trossard?
Walker obviously was not expecting.
Yeah, and Walker had it all his way in the first half. Trossard didn't really do anything.
But obviously, for Trossard to even, I think they said he felt his hamstring after half an hour. It probably meant coming into the game, and even the performance midweek against Lens, that he wasn't always fully fit. He was playing through the tweak hamstring or whatever else it would be. But I just think it's super, super, super interesting now that, as you say, it's not going to be for every game. Like, obviously we've got Chelsea next, but there's going to be the other games, the Sheffield's, where it's just like you can tell us who's going to start, who's not going to start. There's probably nothing Sheffield will do about it.
Yeah.
But I do think it's interesting to see us now at this elite level mind games. Like where we've arrived here at the elite mind games, and like, when a smaller team does it, but
and the thing is, it's not like, just quickly on it, it's not like Arteta is just playing mind games for the sake of playing mind games.
Yeah,
like, whether Bukayo Saka's in that starting 11 or not makes a massive difference to the way we're gonna play and the way Man City are gonna react. So he's not just doing it with any player.
Same thing with Thomas Partey.
Yeah.
Same thing obviously with Martinelli as well. And Thomas Partey was back in training.
Yeah.
And there was fans, we were asking, I asked you the question last week, do you think he's going to start? You said if he's fit, he goes straight back in.
Yeah.
So I agree to your point, and I say that to agree to your point. I think now if Pep was slightly planning for Thomas Partey to come back in, and now all of a sudden it's Jorginho, it's a different game plan, it's a different profile of player. He likes to do different things. So one, big up Jorginho, because you're right. He did do very well in this game, and he just went about his way,
kept it ticking,
kept it simple,
no mistakes,
didn't get caught on the ball, no lollygagging around.
He played some good forward passes as well.
Yeah, but he also had the protection now of Declan Rice.
Yeah, exactly.
In the midfield as well. So I guess getting into the game, it's a weird game in the sense
everyone that's not an Arsenal fan that I've seen say anything about the game, Match of the Day, Sky, football podcast content, whatever, they've all said there was a very dry game, very boring game. This was meant to be like the El Clasico, the two title challenges.
By standards of football, if you're measuring it off football things, it was, because there wasn't that many shots. Like, we might have had 2 shots on target. So we might have had 1 shot on target, something like that. There wasn't that many shots on goal. There wasn't like the ball hitting the post a lot, or there wasn't even that many 1v1s, like where a player gets a chance to just go straight out fullback and rip him, try and beat a man, like, there wasn't even the ball. There was once or twice where the ball gets flashed across goal, and like you think, oh, maybe somebody should have been there. And like, even watching the highlights of the game, like, all the highlight compilations are 2 minutes. 3 minutes
and 45 seconds of it are Kovacic's 2 tackles.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? So I agree with them. And I watched the game on Sky. There wasn't, for a neutral's perspective, there wasn't edge of your seat stuff. But I think, as we were saying, I think for Arsenal fans, for us fans of football, and Arsenal fans in particular, it was so interesting to see your chess pieces in this high level chess match. Like, this was definitely a high level chess match.
On that, where literally when we were at the game, after the full time whistle, my brother turned to me, and he'll enjoy this one. So yeah, enjoy the shout out, Arjun. But he turned to me and he was like, he described it as football chess. Which I then heard a lot of people kind of saying afterwards, and it was that kind of thing, similarly to the Community Shield, where people said again that it was a bit of a boring game, and I saw 2 very good teams. It's a very tactical game, and I feel like that's going to be how it's going to be when we play Man City for as long as Pep's there and Arteta's here.
It makes me think
it's going to be a very tactical game, kind of like, and like you say, for the neutrals, maybe there was a lack of chances or goal threat, but I think the City back four, Gvardiol, Ake, Diaz, Walker, like that's tough to play against.
Yeah.
The Arsenal back
and
four.
That's the point I was gonna make is, I know why fans expected what they expected. But then if you really think about how the game played out and who the two teams are and who the two managers are, was it really going to go any other way? Like these are the most risk-adverse managers. They hate chaos. They hate any movement in the game that hasn't already been pre-planned and pre-thought out and like drilled to the T down on the training ground. So it wasn't just going to all of a sudden burst into like this end-to-end basketball match where there was no control and there was no tempo and there was no this and there was no that. It's just not what these managers like in a football game. And besides Klopp, who can get that out of Guardiola, I wonder when was the last like swashbuckling game that Man City were involved in? When was the last like 4-3, 3-4 type of thing? Madrid can do that out of them as well. But it's like there's only two teams or two sets of managers that can even get that sort of chaos out of Pep. Otherwise, it's like 90% his control.
Yeah, exactly. He's having his way, doing what he wants.
Doing what he wants.
On that though, I think it's a good segue into Martinelli and Martinelli's impact on the game. And we'll talk about all of Arteta's substitutions because they're actually the four players involved in a goal, which fair play to Arteta, man. That's rare to sort of on 4 players
100%
in a game at home against Man City and they all link up for the goal. But on your point about they're two managers that don't like chaos, they like. I was watching FCM and Maiwa said that. Shout out Maiwa. He made a good point and he was like Martinelli coming on is like he's a bit of a chaos baller, but he said like systems don't know how to contain that. Like Pep and Arteta can do everything they can with their system, but when you put a guy like Martinelli on the pitch, Pep's systems can't contain what he's going to do.
I think,
and that was the only real kind of chaos factor and kind of like live wire that we had in the second half.
I agree with that point, but I also disagree. Well, I agree with that point, and I so what I'll say to that is Martinelli's nature is just like move forward goals and it's like shots on target. I need to get shots off,
get it and run forward.
I think he had the most shots of the game. And he only played 45 minutes.
Our first shot on target was that move, and then
so I think he had the most shots of any player in the game, and that is in essence who he is. As in, like he has that South American dog where he wants to square you up and he wants to get shots on goal, and that to him is the idea of football. You know, and I agree that it's tough to contain that if
Pep can't plan for what Martinelli's going to do.
Exactly. I mean, his first touches, his first touches is like a double drag back.
And Walker's like, okay, I got a bit of a problem here now.
It's the fact that Martinelli can go down the line and whip it in.
Go both ways.
Exactly, can cut back.
I saw someone else even say that, like, and it was a Man United fan. Obviously, we know what their wingers are like and how they're performing right now. But he's talking about Martinelli and he was like, even when he's up against the best, Kyle Walker, in terms of 1v1, Aaron Wan-Bissaka, like he might not rinse them, he might not rip them, but he's gonna get change. Like he's leaving with something. Even when we played United and he was up against Wan-Bissaka, hit the byline cross, hit the byline, win a corner.
At the very minimum, he's leaving with the respect of the other fullback. In a sense of like, man, you know, I kept him quiet, but
you know you've been in a tough game.
But it could have gone either way. And I agree that Martinelli was like the biggest chaos factor for us in this game. Obviously, he won the game for us. He changed the game for us.
Our attacking threat went up tenfold when he came on.
But I also have to admit that run from Tomiyasu is chaos.
Because
there's nothing you can do now. Like that, and I think it's so interesting how we have two managers who want complete control over the game, who want complete domination over the football match, and things to go the way they go. All of our goals are normally cutbacks, that type of thing. It's so interesting to see how the goal comes about. And Thomas Partey comes onto the ball, substitution, first things first, comes onto the ball. There's an overload that he neglects on the right-hand side. You got Ben White, you got Odegaard, you got Jesus stood in the 3, waiting to do the rondo, waiting to do the triangles, waiting to create overloads, you know, and like,
Even Kai Havertz is on for an easier pass.
You see what I'm saying? And Martinelli is even on for an easier pass because he's at the touchline, so you could just switch it, you know. But Tomiyasu makes like he's brought on as a left back. Doku comes on, goes at Zinchenko. Arteta says enough is enough. I'm not having that again.
On that quickly, I think it was good in the sense that, like, obviously we spoke a bit about how we wanted Arteta to kind of make those changes maybe slightly earlier, but it in a sense it's good that he waited for Pep to make his changes, and then now he can react. So obviously, like you say, Pep brought Doku on, said run at Zinchenko. As soon as Tomiyasu came on, Doku went to the other side, and then Tomiyasu had that freedom to make that run.
Yeah, but you couldn't have said that Arteta didn't bring Tomiyasu on. You brought him on for defensive reassurance.
Yeah.
And Tomiyasu knows that as well.
Yeah.
You know,
he's being told before he comes on, just lock this guy down.
Just lock this down, keep it tight, win your headers, play it safe. You know what I'm saying?
I reckon he probably told him, don't invert into midfield, just lock this guy. But then when Doku swaps flank, then I think Arteta was like, yeah, okay, go.
Yes, time and space. But even still, so Thomas Partey gets onto the ball, and the run from Tomiyasu, like, I can't explain it.
Yeah.
Like, there's no science behind it. I would be so shocked if that is a pre-plan.
It's like a midfielder just breaking the lines.
Like, sure, the space is there. That's calm. The space can be there.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that your left back should burst into it as if he like.
And it also means, does he really think Thomas Partey can play this?
That's what I'm saying about the chaos run from Tomiyasu.
Or even see it.
It's like, does he makes the run as if he should get the ball.
Yeah.
And he is your left back. He's making the one as if that Zinchenko doesn't make that run.
No.
Zinchenko, who inverts and does everything, you know, doesn't make that run.
Yeah.
So for Tomiyasu to just run off the back of Foden,
lovely little knockdown,
cushion down the header, like that is what I would say is in an Arteta and Pep game is chaos. Because that isn't pre-planned. That isn't like, I don't think that is worked on in the training ground. The ball from Partey,
Pep's not telling these guys Tomiyasu's going to make a line-breaking run into the box.
Watch him. Watch your shoulder. If Tomiyasu makes runs, make sure you follow in. Type of thing. Because you can't. There's no legislation for that.
Yeah.
So I think for all the control, for everything that the two managers wanted, I think this is also kind of how the game was always going to go, in the sense that it was going to be individual decisions and split decisions that players make in moments that were going to change the game. And I guess you can kind of say football always boils down to that. But I think it really is interesting when football from Arteta and from Pep is so systematic and automated. That the goal comes from just like, even Thomas Partey playing that ball, he should go for the overload. You know, so it's like three players make decisions, instinctual chaos decisions.
Kai Havertz takes the touch.
You see what I'm saying?
He lays it off.
Like three players make instinctual chaos decisions. As I said, I think Thomas Partey just sees the ball and plays it. I don't think he actually thinks about the ball that he's about to play, because it's.
And if he turns over possession there, Arteta's going to lose it with him. Arteta's getting mental.
There's
man.
86th
minute, like you're just going to hand it back to Man City. Like you say, the overload. Like if that doesn't work, Arteta's getting mental.
So I think for football, for us two football clubs, as like who finished 1 and 2 last year, those are the fine margins. Those are literally the fine margins that define football matches. And for us, it went in our favor at home. And it's a massive result. Like, it can't be understated. As you were saying, look, we've been in for however many podcasts now, and we've not lost one. You know, we've not lost a game yet. And this was for sure one where rival fans, if not Arsenal fans,
I gotta be honest. I was thinking there's always a chance, right? And we said last week on the app that because it's at the Emirates, things there's more hope, right? But I was thinking, I was like, and especially as the game went on and on at 0-0, I was thinking like, damn, Man City just need one chance.
And I said last week that I would have taken a point. Like, I would have taken a point versus Man City at home. I said, like, a loss would be so detrimental mentally.
At home
with the players that they had out. Would have been so detrimental mentally that it would have been really tough to win the title, especially if, like, later on in the season, we need to go to their place and get a win.
Exactly,
You know, and now, as you mentioned, we have this, not free hit, that's not the right word, but, like, we've beat them at our place. So if they beat us at their place, it evens out. We haven't taken points. They haven't taken points off us.
Exactly.
Stopped us from getting to the title. We got to do our jobs now versus everybody else, as do they versus everybody else. And the good thing is, in this title race, with obviously Tottenham ahead of us, whatever, who gives it, you know, and us second, Man City third, Liverpool fourth, is obviously they still got to go Liverpool home and away. We got to go Liverpool home and away as well. But there's other potential places that Man City can drop points at Tottenham home and away.
Yeah, 100%.
You know, and it's like United home and away.
Yeah,
there's other potential places that Man City can have to go that they could potentially drop points at, and we've done our job as well now.
That's the thing.
We've added
like
to it.
the most important thing. Obviously there's a long way to go. We're only 8 games in. It's a marathon, but whatever happens from here on out, whether we win the league or we don't, I find some comfort in we're not going to lose the league the same way we lost the league last year because we didn't do our job and beat Man City once.
And so
whereas this year we've done that, we've beaten them once. If we lose the league, we'll lose it in another way, but it won't be because we haven't done our job.
And I think that as well. I think that's what Arteta will take, like massive. He should take credit for, and will also be so happy about. It's like whatever happens, you're right. Whatever happens from now to the end of the season, it's a different title race.
Exactly.
It's a different title race. It's not that Man City are going to beat us twice and we need to hope that they slip up everywhere else. It's a different title
we're hoping other teams do it for us.
Yeah.
We've done our job now.
Exactly.
Like, for this game, obviously, not for the season.
Yeah.
We've done our job in this game.
I just think, you know, the impact of the win mentally can't be understated. There's performances that I want to highlight, you know, Gabriel and Saliba to start there. Like,
just to preface this, like in our 2 league games against Man City last year, we conceded 7 goals.
Yeah.
Right, just in the 2 league games.
Can you imagine?
Right, we've come away from it. Man City have not scored a goal in a Premier League game.
When the game started, to talk about the City lineup, when the game started, and you know, Sky Sports, they do team sheets. I looked at Haaland and Alvarez, and I was like, yeah, Alvarez has one at least. Haaland has one at least in this game.
We're gonna have to score 3.
We're gonna have to score 3 to win this game. And I was a bit nervous because I was like,
there was no match outcome I was running in my head where City didn't score. there was none at all.
Yeah, and but you know what's funny was I got into like not an argument, but like my brother was saying that we're not gonna score 3 goals. You know, without Jesus playing down the center, I don't trust Eddie to take his chances. And my rebuttal to him was just that, look, you know, it might not take 3. But I only said that to be argumentative with him rather than like me believing it. And then when you look back, like City lost to Newcastle 1-0. They lost to Wolves 2-1. Wolves only scored 1 goal. City scored the other one. So it's one of those ones where you're not gonna score 3 goals, 4 goals, 5 goals.
Yeah.
Versus City. You have to like your defensive concentration, and that's how we come on to Gabriel and City. Your defensive concentration.
Speak on the partnership
for 96-7 minutes has to be hundreds, has to be 100%. You can't let anything slide.
Yeah.
And now the partnership between Gabriel and Saliba, man, I don't even know if I have the superlatives for it. This wasn't even the game. Like they had both of them individually had very good games and great games together, but this wasn't even a game where it was like they showcased the best of their ability. But it was a game that just like it lets you know how far we've come as a team. Like their collective performances beyond just this result for the past 2 years, have been so immense. Have been Gabriel getting rid of his bozo gene and just becoming a top 3, top 5 centre back in the Barclays Premier League is so good to see. Yeah, it's so good to see. Like I don't know who wants it with Gabriel. On a match day, on any match day.
And he on that point about Gabriel coming a long way. Last year in the home game that we lost 3-1, Haaland wasn't really getting anything out of Saliba. Kind of peeled onto Gabriel and got a tiny bit more joy there. And obviously he ended up scoring in that game. In yesterday's game, Gabriel was switched on for 90 minutes, full concentration. Haaland couldn't have it with Saliba, went to Gabriel, couldn't have it with Gabriel. Like they weren't giving him anything.
And I think that yesterday is ultimately why we won it all. And it also goes back to our chess game point of like controlling more of our emotions. Even like the Kovac is a sending off. The first one could be a straight red. The second one is 100% a yellow. I understand the refs tried to keep 11 versus 11, and I'll ask you a question about that later. Yeah, but it like keeping just the emotional stability even in those moments and not going flying into challenges. And Gabriel's the guy who loves the physical fights and can get drawn out when an attacker starts getting physical with him. And now he feels as if I've got to show him how strong I am, how quick I am. he starts rushing out to get the ball. Just for Gabriel to keep his composure. And maybe you've always said and often said that Gabriel is just as good as Saliba, and doesn't get as much credit just because of the new shiny.
He doesn't
toy
have a skin fade and aura.
The new shiny toy that is Saliba.
Yeah,
and you said that you think Gabriel is the best person for Saliba to learn off. But I think that Gabriel has also learned a little bit from Saliba in terms of that temperament.
Yeah,
and that's why the partnership works so well.
Yeah,
they complement each other so well. The aggression of Gabriel matches the composure of Saliba, and the composure of Saliba.
And that's where the partnership thing comes in.
And they're both so good on the ball, and they're both over 6'2", 6'3", and they're both super quick, and they both win their headers, and they both don't shy away from the tough challenges. And they can both lock up anybody. If you can keep Haaland quiet with 0 goals, 0 XG, 0 shots. You can do that versus anybody.
Yeah. I do think at this point now, and I said last season, across the whole season, I thought Gabriel had a better season than Saliba. But I do think at this point now, Saliba is kind of showing that he is almost the A side of the partnership.
It was interesting at the beginning, obviously, because Arteta is stuck with Saliba. Whatever was going on with Gabriel, we don't really know.
Yeah.
But Arteta was like, you're going to be playing for
and I think that's also because Saliba is better. Gabriel's good on the ball, but Saliba is very good.
Yeah.
I just think that there's and like you say, the shiny toy thing, everyone loves Saliba. There's a lot of over gas for Saliba and not enough gas for Gabriel. I feel like Arsenal fans do at the start of the season, doing like the lineups that they want or their preferred lineups, and not having Gabriel in it, or say we need to sign a left centre back. Like, nah.
Yo,
this guy is top.
How
level.
old is Gabriel? 25, 26?
Yeah.
Oh man, it is. Let me just double check his age.
But also on as we speak about the partnership, and the concentration and the solidity of Arsenal, I also want to talk about another player, which is Declan Rice, and his impact in the game yesterday. He's come to Arsenal. He's played Man City twice. He's won twice.
Yeah.
And I think Declan Rice showed a level of... Look, Declan Rice has played in big games. Like he played in the Euros final. He's won European trophy for West Ham and whatever. But he showed a level of understanding, and I don't know how much of this might have been said by Arteta and whatnot, but when Jorginho was on the pitch, Declan Rice was maybe a bit more reserved in terms, almost playing as like a double 6 rather than a high 8. Because I think he kind of knows that Jorginho, if something does happen, if he's close to him, he can recover that with Saliba and Gabriel. But when Thomas Partey came on, Declan Rice was one of the highest players on the pitch, getting up there, trying to break the lines. And there was that level of calm that Thomas Partey brought. But I think Declan Rice, what he did out of possession yesterday is a massive, massive part of us winning.
There were some moments in both halves. And this again speaks to the chess game of it all, where it was we were pressing City, so Nketiah goes, Odegaard goes, Jesus goes, Trossard goes, Rice goes.
Yeah,
to fill in, to really give into the press.
Yeah,
City, good team, great team. Get out of the press. They're working it across the midfield, trying to get it to the other flank. Moving through the field, and all you see is just Declan Rice from the first initial press, just sprinting back.
Yeah.
And I think that alone, when you have Declan Rice on your shoulder and you can hear him coming and he's coming,
the long strides
leads to so many sloppy passes. Guys just want to get rid of it quickly, try and find some more space,
because you're about to get dominated.
You're about to get
absolutely burnt.
You're about to get crunched. He's going to do everything to win this ball back. So I think that is what I really, and I heard somebody else ask this to somebody, so I'm going to ask it to you. What do you think? What are you most impressed about with Declan Rice? Or surprised about? We knew he was so good defensively. But what are you most surprised about in his game, or impressed about in his game? That it's only been 8 games. Obviously, there's a lot more that we're going to find out. But from what we've seen so far.
I think, like you say, we knew he was good defensively. I was one of the ones who also kind of thought like this guy has a bit in possession. Like he's not going to look out of place in the Arsenal team. Like he can play, but I think the question, the reason Declan Rice came to Arsenal, and he said this when he joined right from the get go, he wants to win the title.
Yeah,
and we were 5 points off it last year. Can Declan Rice be the difference? And a lot of people are saying this. The biggest thing about Declan Rice's performances is no one's talking about his price tag, which shows you like he's just come in and got down to business. But yeah, the biggest thing for me is that the Man United game, he comes in, he scores the winner, gives us 3 points. Like, and I look back on that now, and if the Garnacho goal is onside, how does our season look?
Yeah.
We get that slice of luck. Declan Rice comes up big. The North London derby, if he stays on the pitch, I think we get 3 points. But then again yesterday, I just think if Arsenal have their strongest team out there with Bukayo Saka, with Thomas Partey, with Urian Timber maybe, but you don't have Declan Rice, I think we can lose that game quite easily.
I think for me, what I'm most shocked about or impressed about is his like just 90-minuteness. Like, and I knew he played a lot of games for West Ham. And I knew he, as I say, there's offensive stuff, man. It speaks for itself. Yeah. Some of those lunging in challenges, some of those just like...
Yeah. Even like where he positions himself. Yeah. Like,
so there's times teams, they think they're away.
Yeah.
Like
he's cutting passing lanes. Like
there's certain times where like teams get out of the initial press and they think they're away. And Declan Rice just slides in all ball.
Yeah.
You know, but I think just the like, you know, he played 90 minutes versus Lons. He's meant to be like playing through an injury or something. You know, he's played another 90 minutes.
Yeah, he'll go and play 2 90s for England.
That's what I'm saying. He played 90 versus Bournemouth on the weekend.
Yeah.
So for me, it's just the like, and I didn't expect him really to get subbed, but at the same time, I'm always so impressed when players do 90 minutes, three weeks, 3 weeks in a row. The Rodri thing, even Jesus did it, to be fair.
I think that was a big part of why Arteta signed him as well. Like he had a good injury record at West Ham. Was playing every 3 days. On Gabriel Jesus quickly, I think he deserves a shout out as well. I think he was my personal opinion, I haven't seen the game back, but he was my man of the match just because I think, especially in that first half before Martinelli came on, he seemed to be the only forward player on the pitch that actually believed, like, I can beat my man. I can go past someone. I can make something happen. He was winning tackles. He was showing intensity. And I think he was just he was everywhere on that pitch, and we needed that.
Yeah, I think he just like he tries so hard, man. Yeah, like he really gives his everything, offensively, defensively.
It was genuinely like he was not going to come off that pitch.
Yeah.
And let Arsenal leave with nothing.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was like, he was genuinely, in that first half in particular, it was like, I'm going to do this and I'm going to make sure that we leave with something.
As I said, there were certain balls that were played up top from Raya, from, you know, whoever at the back, where it is like, Gvardiol is on his back.
6'3" Gvardiol.
On his back. Jesus is holding him off. Ball hits his chest. It sticks.
Yeah.
Drops dead. Jesus turns. And as I said, Jesus is like, he was the only person for sure in our starting front three where when he actually did turn on the ball, defenders took a step backwards. And it was like, all right, I need him to make the first move.
Yeah.
Before I can, get in there and try and do something. Because if I lunge in, I'm done.
Yeah.
It's a yellow.
Yeah.
You know. But I can't say enough how highly I respect his work rate and work ethic. And like, I'm just going to do a job for the team.
Yeah.
Like, left wing, right wing, down the middle.
Yeah.
As an eight, if you need me as a wing back, whatever it is, exactly. I'm just going to do a job for the team.
Yeah.
And I think another player that actually deserves a shout out is Kai Havertz.
Yeah.
Because that's 2 games, 2 contributions, game changer. Obviously, no need to go over the top with the praise or anything like that, but it's better than the penalty last week.
Yeah.
This isn't in play, open game situation. You know, my brother was calling for him to take the shot on first time, but when the ball ends up in the back of the net, and you've made the right play at the end of it, man.
That's all that matters.
That's all that matters.
Yeah.
Grow into yourself, grow into your own confidence, grow into like, we need you, we want you.
He held it up well when he came on. He worked hard, and I'm pleased for him. Definitely made an impact on the game. But I think quickly we'll do a bit on City.
Yeah.
Obviously, we're not reading too much into it. The last time City lost back-to-back Premier League games, they went on a 16-game winning run, I think.
And they probably will go on a crazy streak. They have tough fixtures though.
Yeah, they do. And who knows, the aftermath of the treble could be taking a toll or whatever. But I think obviously they were missing two linchpins in their team, De Bruyne and Rodri. Obviously, Arsenal were also missing players, but that midfield of Rico Lewis, Kovacic, and Bernardo Silva playing as a lone six, like with acres around him, the stuff that we can't see Casemiro do. But for some reason, Pep's gone, and I knew Bernardo Silva would play because he's just a guy that will just retain possession.
Yeah, he has to play.
But I never thought, especially away at the Emirates in what is probably their toughest away game, maybe that and Anfield, to play Bernardo Silva in there on his own and just be like, I need you to lock this down.
And keep it tight and keep the score close. And, I hate / love the flexibility and versatility of like these top players.
Yeah.
And Bernardo's 100% one of them. But for Pep to even try that, as you say, you've got Calvin Phillips. He spent a ton of money on him. Obviously, Pep's been pretty vocal about.
What do you think of the Calvin Phillips thing?
I just think that for Calvin Phillips personally, is not a good sign. Like Pep, you're an established six.
Yeah,
you've played in some tough teams, Bielsa teams, but the requirements for a six are nuts.
Yeah,
and now you've played in Pep teams where the requirement for six are nuts. And when Pep is opting to use a young Rico Lewis, and as you
didn't even come on. Mateus Nunes is coming on.
Yeah, and a Bernardo Silva who, but he's a great left winger, number 8, number 10.
He's a great footballer, but is he really starting?
He shouldn't
position?
Exactly. Yeah. He shouldn't be pipping you to the number 6 position in a big game where Rodri's out.
Yeah,
and for Calvin Phillips, if you're not going to play the games that Rodri's not there,
what games are you?
What games are you going to play?
Yeah,
because we know Rodri when he's back, he's doing 90. Yeah, so
it's not looking good for Calvin Phillips, and the life without Rodri for Man City. They played 4 games since he got sent off. Yeah, the one that he played, the Champions League game, they won.
Yeah,
the other 3 they lost. Honestly, he is so vital,
so integral
to that team.
I even think
it makes you think, if he picks up an injury,
what happens?
Where does that team?
What happens? I think, but what Man City will say is they're waiting for John Stones to come back and be fully fit, and for Pep to do this. But even that, man,
that's a big drop off. I think I rate Stones. I think he's one of the best centre backs in the league. But as a holding midfield player, the drop off from Rodri.
But I think even that is, man, it's damning for Calvin Phillips if they're waiting for an injury prone centre back.
Pep will literally play anyone there.
Anybody
ahead of him.
Yeah, and it's crazy that Calvin isn't for whatever reason showing enough to get into Pep, not understanding the position enough. Like what?
And Pep's coming out and saying it's my fault.
Yeah,
Marcelo Bielsa got the best out of him, but I can't seem to do it.
It's crazy, man. And the last thing I'll say then on Arsenal, this game and everything, is just that.
Well, I'll tee you up for that, but quickly, just the Ben White nutmeg on Doku. I needed to get that in.
Yeah.
Hey, cherry on the cake.
Everybody thought Doku was going to come here and smoke Ben White.
Yeah,
but they don't know Benny Blanco.
I saw a tweet saying Doku versus Ben White in 2 weeks. Buzzing.
They don't know who Benny Blanco is.
They don't.
I saw a tweet today.
I tweeted, man. We need to. Very soon, we need to start having conversations about where Ben White ranks right backs in world football.
Yeah, I feel you. I mean, his consistency for the past 18 months.
More than that, man. From the moment he joined Arsenal and he was playing centre back, I feel like he's been so good. Transition to right back seamlessly. Links up with Saka, makes Saka. I know it's difficult to say make Saka a better player because Saka's so good, but
Saka, shameless overlaps.
Saka, and Saka's definitely better. We saw at the start of the season when Ben White's at right back.
100%.
And yeah, that nutmeg was just. Everyone thought Doku would be nutmegging Ben White.
I mean, they don't have Benny Blanco. That's all I'll say.
They don't. They don't.
The final things I'll say in the game, or just what this means.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, obviously, last thoughts. What do you think this means when you draw yourself back from everything, and we've won 1-0, and we've beaten Man City, and we've broken the curse? What do you think it means in terms of A, the mentality of both Arsenal and Man City, and B, the title race?
I don't think it means too much for Man City, but I think for Arsenal it means that we should go into any game with the confidence of we can beat this team. In any position, even if we're 2-1 down with 5-10 minutes to go, we should be thinking we can beat this team. We have more than enough tools in the tool shed to come and beat anybody. And we should also be thinking at home, we need, like, if we don't give a goal away at home, we're really tough to beat.
Yeah.
Like, if we don't give you a goal at home, we become a stupidly tough team to beat. And I think those will be the two biggest. I think just the overall confidence that the team should get from beating Manchester City, like the intangible that should have on everybody.
Yeah.
Without our foot, like, I'm not even in our final form yet.
Yeah.
But what I was gonna say is
for the title race overall.
For the title race, it's tough to say because
you think it's swung in any direction?
Nah, because Man City can easily win their next 15 games. Man City cannot drop.
That's so outrageous to say it, but they
cannot drop a point till Christmas. And just
then KDB
do
comes
their thing,
back,
exactly, and it becomes super long. But the numbers, what I was gonna get to is the numbers, like at the start of the season, or we're match week 8, I think, whatever we're in, with maybe just on 7. We have the best defense in the league.
Yeah.
We're like 2 or 3 goals off the highest scorers in the league. We've played some pretty tough teams. You haven't played any of the relegated sides.
Yeah.
As we say, from Man United, from Man City, from Tottenham at home, we have 7 out of 9.
But yeah, we'll move on from that game. Obviously, big dub for Arsenal, getting over that hurdle of losing the last 12 games. And we'll move on to the early kickoff, which was Luton versus Tottenham.
Yeah.
Tottenham missing a whole host of early chances. Richarlison could have had a hat-trick in like 5 minutes.
First chance from Richarlison it's already the miss of the
season.
It's
awful. And then Luton kind of finds some stability. Bissouma then gets sent off for an absolutely pathetic dive. Yeah. Pathetic dive from him. But Luton still can't beat 10 men. They missed their chances because they did have a couple, as you'd expect if you're playing against 10 men, and they just couldn't take them. Probably somewhat to be expected. But on the Spurs side, credit to them.
Yeah, credit.
They got through it after they went down to 10 men.
First goal.
Yeah, good play from Maddison.
Yeah.
Still unbeaten and they're top of the table. But 4 out of their 6 wins have come against the bottom 4 teams in the table right now.
And then you have that jammy win versus Liverpool.
Yeah, but they're beating the 3 promoted teams and Bournemouth.
I don't know. I think it's so tough to talk about Tottenham because they have played well. They have surpassed expectations.
Yeah.
You have to give them credit for that. They're in a new man. This is meant to be like a free hit transition year for them.
Yeah. And you can only beat the teams put in front of you.
Exactly. It's meant to be a free hit transition year for them, and they are top of the table. And I was telling my friend this, like, I've seen enough from Tottenham to not really be worried that this is like going to be a Leicester season, or this is even going to be what we did last year, where they stayed top until God knows when. I just feel like
they don't have the squad depth.
Yeah, but the other guy has to come back. Højbjerg has to come back into the team now, and that's going to change everything because they actually really do have a dynamic too with Pape Sauce, and they have a dynamic too with Pape Sarr and Bissouma.
Yeah,
and I just think that it's fugazi and fairy tale-ish to think that your starting 11 stays fit for us for the whole season. But
they are playing once a week.
But even with that, man, they are the kind
you'll pick up injuries.
But it's tough because I don't want to be that negative guy. On Tottenham.
Yeah.
Even though I would very happily be that negative guy on Tottenham. I just feel like as a Tottenham fan, you should be happy.
Yeah.
but you should.
And I think Tottenham fans are aware of that. I think the only people that are really saying like, "Oh, Tottenham in a title race," are rival fans trying to get like a rise out of Tottenham to kind of get them to say. But I think Tottenham fans in general kind of like are aware that they've had a great start, a better start than anyone thought. But I think they're also aware that like it's a long season. Champions League is still the aim. They're not aiming to be in a title race. And I think they're aware of that. And you know what, like we said, you can only beat the teams that are in front of you. You've done that. You came to the Emirates, you got a draw. You beat Liverpool, you beat Man United. So fair play. I just think that a lot of it's coming from obviously a new manager bounce with Ange and the unpredictability of maybe teams and managers not knowing how they're going to play. I think once managers kind of see more and more of Tottenham's games and they kind of start to gain an understanding, it'll be interesting to see if Ange maybe tries something new or tweaks a couple of things. But yeah, man, they're top of the league right now. After 8 games, still unbeaten. So fair play to them, man.
Yeah, fair play to them for sure. Big up James Maddison. You've probably been one of the top 3 signings of the summer so far, just in terms of your plug and playness. And you've come in, you've been a real spark. Yeah. The goal really is down to your own individual brilliance.
Yeah, taking the short corner.
Yeah, you know what I was saying, and yeah, Tottenham, like we will see. Yeah, I fully expect the wheels to fall off. I fully expect them to start drawing, start dropping points, start getting frustrated. Once I start seeing Dyer and Davis back in the team, I know what happens after that. So I like praise for now. I think Udogi's a good cop. Seems like a decent guy.
Pedro Porro's playing well.
Van der Ven, I've got my eyes on him now.
Yeah.
Got my eyes on him now.
And keep an eye out and tune in next week because we're gonna do the top 10 Premier League summer signings from the transfer window just gone. So if you're interested in that, like we're talking about James Maddison, Van der Ven, a couple of players that might be in there. And we'll do a 1 to 10, so we will have a definite who's the best summer transfer. But yeah, moving on from that game, Burnley played Chelsea. Chelsea winning 4-1. Burnley actually took the lead. They went 1-0 up. It's the same old story for Burnley, though. They're playing good football. Yeah. It's easy on the eye, but they're just not taking their chances.
You said it, man. I think you've been saying this like from the time Norwich kept yo-yoing up and down. That whole like possession-based tiki-taka stuff works in the Championship when you have the best players and you're the best team in the Championship. But the minute you come up to the Premier League, you're going to get found out. There isn't the time, there isn't the space in the ball. And I'm surprised. I know Kompany's a new manager, but he knows the Premier League. So I'm surprised that he thought that this was going to just translate and he was just going to sort of come up to the Premier League. And I don't know, like we said this earlier in the pod about at what point does he change his strategy and start to be more pragmatic and less fairy tale? Because I get it, you've got the documentary, you've got the 100 points, we are Burnley, that whole thing.
Yeah.
But if you're just going to lose every game playing your style of football, what good is your style of football?
Yeah, precisely. And that's part of the reason why I give Thomas Frank, why we both give Thomas Frank so much credit, because they were a team. When he was on Monday Night Football, they brought up his stats from his team in the Championship and his stats from the team in the Premier League. And when they're in the Championship, they were a team that dominated the ball, liked to keep possession. And he's obviously adapted that and like gained kind of Premier League stability in a sense, and then tried to kind of go back to, okay, we've established ourselves. Let's try build on the possession thing. I think for Vincent Kompany, the thing that I do like about it is that, like, you watch Burnley and they play good football, man.
It's interesting.
They build up, like they have the right kind of principles, the right kind of philosophy, but defensively, those players are just awful, man. Like some of the pen that they gave away, like Jackson's got like 40 yards of space in the box.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Like he's got so much time. But on Chelsea, just back-to-back wins for them. Yeah. Raheem Sterling was on fire.
Yeah.
Did everything for their own goal, won the penalty, scored himself. Good performance from him. And yeah, we played them after the international break at Stamford Bridge. Should be an interesting game.
Should be. We should clean them out. We should get them the hell out of here. but they are a lot better than they've been for the past couple months, and they're finding form, and Poch is starting to put it together. And Chelsea also still do have players coming back from injury. Lavia and now are going to come into the team at some point. I think big up to Poch. He's had a lot of like weird stuff thrown at him, and obviously he's finding his feet. He's sorting things out. He's gaining some consistent momentum. It's just unlucky for Chelsea in a sense that they found like a style and a team and a way to play, and then they have like really tough fixtures. For the next, if Poch had this from match day one, and they would have already had like 15 points on the board or something. If they was playing this football at the beginning, but when you're figuring yourself out through the season, it's going to be inconsistency. It's just going to be inconsistency.
Because we said a couple of weeks ago, when those like away to Brentford, away to Newcastle, like it does get, but
teams that aren't going to give you the 40 yards
exactly,
and
they're
going to
be on to you, and like it's going to be solid. It's going to be tough with such a young team as well. But back-to-back wins for them. Pochettino's starting to turn it around.
Is it also back-to-back goals for Cole Palmer in Premier League games? I think.
Yeah.
So they have a couple guys who they might be looking at as like, all right, you're going to be a regular.
Yeah,
you're going to be a guy.
I think Cole Palmer will start becoming their first choice on that right hand side. But moving on from that game, Everton bounced back against Bournemouth. They absolutely tore them apart. Scenes at Goodison Park. They're free-flowing football.
Hey, clean sheet. That's what I care about the most with Everton.
You had Pickford and Tarkowski in the FPL.
Huge.
And do you see Jack Harrison's goal?
Yeah.
That was a great finish.
But Jack Harrison actually has, 2 of those this season.
If ever I could have said, this guy's a Sean Dash winger. Jack Harrison, man.
Yeah.
Off both feet. Puts a delicious ball in.
Yeah.
Calvert-Lewin's feasting. Like, works up and down. Him and Dwight McNeil. I was watching it and I was like,
there's something.
Dash could be building something here. He's dropped Garner Gay. He's moved Onana back.
Decore again.
James Garner's come in, to look decent.
His goal was good as well.
Yeah. Decore scored
again. He's found his form.
Yeah,
but Decore, we've also said he's always been a Prem player.
Yeah.
For whatever club in any capacity, he's a Prem player.
And we said after our trip to Goodison, now that's out the way. I hope they find form.
Yeah,
I hope all their players get fit.
Beat everybody.
That's going to be keep Calvert-Lewin fit. Get Decore, Onana, McNeil, and Harrison.
Yeah,
it's not going to be an easy place to go.
On Bournemouth though,
still no wins.
I'm watching.
Still no wins.
I'm watching and I'm worried.
Yeah.
It's
and they're causing their own problems, man. The amount of chances Everton could have won that game 6-0. And it's all just coming from Bournemouth losing the ball in silly positions.
Yeah. And I think I still back the Sheffield manager to go first, but I do think with Bournemouth, they actually have better players than the position they're in, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, we saw the Chew and Gary O'Neill could get out of that Bournemouth team towards the end of last season. Even they were still losing some games, but they were putting in good performances. You're like, man, Bournemouth was a test.
Yeah.
They're tuning up at the Emirates.
They won at Tottenham.
Yeah, and now it just, I think they might have the worst goal difference in the league.
Sheffield got hit. But the only reason I think he might go first, Andoni Iraola at Bournemouth, is because I just feel like Sheffield have accepted Paul Higginbottom's going to manage us in the Championship next season.
Yeah.
like there's no need to sack him. He's a good Championship manager. When we're back there next season,
he gets back up.
Yeah. And then we'll move from there or whatever.
Yeah.
I feel like after Bournemouth stayed up last year with Gary O'Neill, they need to stay up this year. Yeah. Especially after sacking him. And seeing what Gary O'Neill's doing at Wolves.
Yeah.
And that's their next game, Bournemouth. They play Wolves.
No way.
Yeah. So Gary O'Neill's going to go back to Bournemouth. But it's not looking good for them. Yeah.
So my eyes are open on Bournemouth just because the performances haven't been there, and like you just get, it's like 4-3, 5 every game.
Yeah.
And that obviously can't go on.
Yeah.
And
they need to pick up their first win soon.
Because then it starts to evade you, and then
It's actually quite surprising that we're 8 games into the season and there hasn't been a managerial sacking yet.
Yeah, last year there was quite a few by
normally
this time.
like someone's gone by this point, but I think because owners and whoever are probably looking at the table, and so many teams have been so shit. Everton lost to Luton, and
they're looking at the table and thinking, I'm 3 points off Chelsea and 4 points off United.
Yeah. Oh, the one thing I did forget to mention on Burnley was that they did actually pick up their first win midweek against Luton.
We
obviously didn't get to cover that because we had the podcast before that, but yeah, they did actually pick up their first win. But yeah, moving on from that, Man United played Brentford. They were they were losing 1-0 for most of the game. And Onana howler. How's that gone in?
It's right there.
Casemiro losing possession. Sloppy.
I need more football.
Yeah, that was Ten Hag's quote. Took Casemiro
off. The way I dissect the United game is that happy for United to get, not happy for United, but like as an unbiased guy, happy for United to get 3 points.
Yeah.
But even for example, McTominay being the hero is a red flag. Because United fans,
every United fan has cussed him out.
You know who Scott McTominay is, and I don't know if this is his redemption arc. It could be the beginning of his redemption.
Has he been misprofiled?
McNine. I hear they call him what was it? Pochettino.
His first goal, he takes that very well. The touch brings it down, puts it on bids.
But this is also a guy that the manager wanted out. Happy for you to get your 3 points for sure. It shows that there is fight in this team and they're willing to go to the end. And there's irony in Harry Maguire and McTominay linking up for the final goal.
I'm happy for McTominay because he gets a lot of stick.
He does.
And it's that typical thing of and Arsenal have done this, Liverpool have done this, all fans of any club has done this, but he gets scapegoated. And even when we know McTominay is not very good, but McTominay doesn't need to be the worst player on the pitch for Man United fans to cuss him out.
Yeah,
so for him to come on and a lot of United fans have questioned his mentality and is he working hard, and for him to score those 2 goals, you saw after the second goal kind of what that meant to him. So I'm happy for him to kind of get those Man United fans off his back a bit.
For sure, it's always good. There's a little bit of joy in seeing a player silence fans.
Especially he's come up through Man United's academy, But overall, it was and I think Man United fans know this. It's a poor performance.
It was a poor game.
Yeah,
they were literally 4 minutes away from an Ethan Pinnock man of the match. And I think as well, what's interesting about United is they can't even build off it immediately.
Yeah.
There is an international break now. You finally have a win for the first time, maybe this month or whatever, and now there's an international break, and now you've got players are going to go away. Maybe some players come back injured, whatever it is. So it's really cruel for them in a sense of you finally get a win and you can't have another game tomorrow to get another win and build up some confidence, build up some steam, and look other rival fans in the face and be we're back, or we're serious, or we're a threat, or we're a problem. But there are some interesting points in that game. Rashford comes off early
to cheers
60 minutes
from the Old Trafford faithful.
The stream I was watching, they were they're gonna listen to the noise, they're gonna boo Rashford,
they all started cheering.
There was they're gonna boo Ten Hag's decision to remove Rashford, and the fans were clapping him off.
Mate, that's that Man United Old Trafford toxicity building. It's just also for Ten Hag step by step.
I'm not gonna lie, I was so happy watching the nervous moments from Ten Hag, when they were 1-0 down and it was actually into the 90th minute. But equally so, there was a human part of me that was happy when United were winning, just because you could physically see the stress come off his shoulder. He didn't know what he was gonna say. At the post,
the inquest would have been.
He didn't know what he was gonna say at that post-match press conference if they had lost or even drawn in that game. And you could just see the weight of the world off his shoulders, and I can have one good night's sleep.
It's bought him a bit of time.
Yeah. And maybe with my Arsenal hat on, I'm happy for that as well. In the sense that like you have Ten Hag himself has so much work to do, and he's done a lot of good work, but he's also dug himself into so many holes. You've got a Nani, you've got a Maguire thing, you've got Mctominay.
I thought Amrabat looked poor.
Even there's still like United need to go and every time I see Martial's name come up, I can't believe it.
How's he still playing for Man United?
It's not even that he's still playing. He gets I need goal minutes. Like I need goal contribution.
Yeah.
It's crunch time, backs against the wall stuff, and he just like he just like floats around the pitch.
Tony Marshall.
Yeah.
Tony Marshall.
But on Brentford, man,
same points as Everton.
It's poor. It's poor from Brentford.
It's so unlike them to concede from kind of 2 set piece crosses, kind of that late on in the game as well. You'd expect them to.
It's poor.
Yeah, it's not been a good start.
It's not been a good start, and I feel for Brentford in a way because I think for large chunks of the games that in some of their losses, the performances have been there.
Yeah,
but it is kind of championship stuff where it's like when your club and your fans and your football team needs you the most, you have the weirdest defensive errors.
Yeah.
And I was even saying, I was like, man, thank goodness they got rid of Flecken. Flecken, man, what?
This the other keeper was just as trash.
Of course, they just threw it. That first goal,
the second goal, even like he has to save that, has to get a stronger hand on it. But yeah, I think Brentford will be all right. They got some good players in there, so they should be all right.
I thought Jensen and Norgard had a good game.
Yeah, did all right. They did all right. But yeah, moving on from that to the most boring game of the weekend, Palace Forest, which Sky criminally put on TV. Honestly, there's really nothing to say about this. Palace struggling a bit with Eze. The only quality in the game came from Morgan's Gibbs-White, where the ball came over. He kind of tried the lob, hit the post. But other than that, ball draw. So we'll move on to Brighton, Liverpool.
That's a good game. That's a great
De Zerbi versus Klopp was a good game. Definitely worth the Super Sunday hype. Sky push.
Yeah.
From Brighton's point of view, I think you might want to talk about this guy a bit. Adingra.
Yeah. Love him.
Yeah.
As I said a couple of weeks ago, that I think he's he's just a good player. He's technically sound. He makes the right decisions in the right moment. It's kind of surreal even to see just another one come off the conveyor belt for Brighton, in the sense that like, all right, he's gonna be a bit of a problem.
Yeah,
you have to think twice. He can use both feet.
Yeah,
he makes the right decisions at the right time.
Took his goal
really well.
Could have maybe had another.
And
Carlos Baleba as well.
Yeah, he's a good player.
They've just found another one.
He's a good player, man. Like he has it all, and they're all young, and they're all gonna get better. Yeah. But he has it all in raw form.
Yeah.
Like he can drive past you. He can play the pass. I saw in one of those moments he cut in. Or he chopped, had a shot. Yeah, it was tame. Keeper saved it, but it was like sooner. Some of these days that's gonna fly top bins.
Yeah.
So just shout out to De Zerbi as well, because there was a moment. Obviously, they went 1-0 up, and then Liverpool went 2-1 up.
Yeah.
And there was a moment where you thought Liverpool was gonna go 3-1. Gravenberch hits the bar.
Yeah.
Like you think that Liverpool is gonna
score there.
Yeah, Liverpool just gonna put this game out of sight, out of mind. And fair play to Brighton as well. After you get smacked last week to stay in it. You're 2-0 down midweek as well. So I just think with this game, it was really, really interesting. It was probably the best game of the weekend in terms of some of the football that was played and some of the passages. Of the passages of play. Salah again just missed the inevitable. Every match week, I literally think every match week he leaves with a goal or an assist.
Yeah. I think just quickly before we go on to Liverpool, the other guy I want to mention is João Pedro. I know he missed a sitter, but I think his all-round game, linking the play, turning on the ball, he looks like a very good number 9.
I thought it was interesting how he started with Evan Ferguson a little bit deeper than he almost played him in a 10-ish position.
Yeah.
And then he played, and then even Brighton.
I don't think De Zerbi's really having Evan Ferguson.
You don't think?
I don't think he's really because you expect a guy like that to get minutes
and start most often.
But Danny Welbeck will play, João Pedro will play. He'll mix it up. He might put Lallana up there as a number 10. I
think it was interesting, but
I don't know. Yeah, it is interesting.
I also thought that it was very interesting. They brought Ansu Fati on in the 88th minute.
Yeah,
I was like, whoa, you had him on the bench?
Yeah.
He's fully fit. He could start the match. He's coming on the, it was 2-2 from like at least the 80th minute.
Yeah.
So I like, not that some of the decisions that De Zerbi makes, we're not here to question him, but I'm just like, wow. I thought you was going to go with something else. I thought you would have done something else or done something else sooner. And I think it also shows a coming of age from Brighton of like where they are now, where it's like, we can be 2-1 down at Liverpool versus Liverpool, and
they'll stand up and be counted for.
Yeah.
On Liverpool though, their fire up power up top is ridiculous, man. Like, you look at maybe the Arsenal Man City game yesterday, and obviously we've said it was a very tactical game, kind of like football chess, but there wasn't really like on either team yesterday. Obviously, I know Martinelli went and won the game, but other than Martinelli, on either team in yesterday's game in particular, there wasn't really like a match winner.
Yeah,
like someone who. Yeah. Whereas I feel like Liverpool have that from so many places in their forward.
Salah, Salah,
Jota. Like guys that can just come on and score, change a game. Like Diaz can go past 3 players, score.
Yeah.
Salah can go past 3 players, score. Nunes can get put in, bang.
Yeah. And I just think that is what will keep them in the top 3, in the top 4, up into the very late stages of the title race is 2 things. One, their goal threats, as you said, and then also they're just like their weird Hollywood never say die attitude. I'm gonna get goals in the 97th minute. I'm gonna get goals in the 98th.
Yeah.
90 plus 10, 2 reds. Alisson's gonna come forward and score a last. They have that Hollywood,
and then they have that like been there, done that before kind of mentality. So they know they can keep up. So on the balance of things, away to Brighton, it's not a bad point for them. But moving on, West Ham, Newcastle, 2-2 was another good game. Kudus scored a nice equaliser for West Ham.
Isak too.
Yeah, Isak brace.
I think it's interesting as well. Like Callum Wilson was starting earlier in the season, and I don't even think he necessarily did anything to be dropped.
Yeah.
And now Isak's just in there.
Yeah.
And
Wilson's been injured last couple of weeks. Yeah. But I do think Isak is Eddie Howe's number 1 guy. Yeah. But it was 2 cheap goals for West Ham to concede on set pieces where you think they normally quite good.
Clean up.
But Isak's second goal, the ball from Bruno G to Trippier, and then Trippier's cross is on a plate. just eat it up.
He has no other choice.
Yeah, it's a great ball from Trippier. He has no other choice
but to kick the ball the back of the net.
And after they beat PSG midweek, their performance in the first half was a bit lackluster, but they came away with a point away to West Ham. Decent point for them.
And fair play to Kudus. I think Kudus is a really good player, man.
Yeah.
I think West Ham have a really good team.
Yeah.
I think Paquetá, Bowen, Kudus,
Alvarez,
JWP, Souček, who's getting goals now.
Yeah.
Is a really
if they can just get like
is robust.
And if they had like a Callum Wilson,
that
team would be so serious.
Firing,
so serious,
super firing.
Wilson, Kudus, Bowen, like that's the one thing that team's missing is like, and we know what Antonio does. Like he causes problems. He's a great asset for West Ham to have. But if they want to make that jump to that next level, maybe like a Brighton did last year, or like a Newcastle, and kind of toy with the idea of fighting Champions League, maybe consistently getting Europa League. I think that number 9 is the one thing they're missing.
Yeah, I agree. If they could get somebody that could honestly get them 16 goals, 17 goals in the Premier League.
Yeah.
They
combine that with what Bowen will give you, what Kudus might give you.
Paquetá.
Yeah. Like
they don't know where
they'll be in a good position.
100% I agree with that.
But moving on from that game to the West Midlands derby, Wolves versus Aston Villa. And we spoke obviously about Bournemouth and their struggles, and Gary O'Neill deserves some praise, man.
Gary O'Neill
deserves some praise.
And I think what's so cool about Gary O'Neill is he's gone from Bournemouth to Wolves, where there's like some stuff to work with, but not much.
Julian Lopetegui left a couple of days before the season started.
Yeah.
Because they weren't getting any players in. They're in financial difficulty. Yeah. They were sold Neves, sold Moutinho, all these guys, sold Nathan Collins.
You know,
they've got Lamina. They've got Lamina. Yeah. Because he actually got sent off on the weekend.
Yeah,
Classic Lamina.
I think that could be his second red of the campaign as well.
But yeah, the way he's galvanized that team, Pedro Neto again.
He puts out a decent outfit. Gary O'Neill, I was gonna say Gary Neville. Gary O'Neill, he puts out a decent outfit, and they're like rigid, they're solid, they create chances.
Yeah,
you know, as you say, Pedro Neto again.
Yeah,
Chang
another assist
again.
Yeah, Hwang getting another goal.
You know, I just think that they will do more than enough to probably stay up.
Yeah,
and like it would be just karma, like cosmic karma, if Wolves stay up and Bournemouth go down.
If they go to Bournemouth next week and
win,
yeah.
You know, if you're the Bournemouth board, what are you? You're banging. How much do we pay for this Spanish guy?
Yeah,
you know.
And yeah. So shout out Wolves. On the Villa point of view, they returned and replied with a goal almost instantly after Wolves had scored. Good ball from Watkins, and Pau Torres scored, and Watkins had a couple of chances he was unlucky with. But after winning in midweek in the Conference League, to go there, get a point, not a bad result for Wolves in a derby game away from home.
Wolves.
What did you make of Villa?
You know, I was more shocked that Villa didn't keep a clean sheet, and I was happy for that, FPL-wise.
Matty Cash.
I just really thought that Villa would keep a clean sheet in this game. But, you know, Wolves were at home, innit? I think Wolves could be not building something at their stadium, but they could be one of those teams where it's like, yeah, we're at the bottom, but you're not going to come here to Molineux and just roll us, roll us over and dog us and 5-0, 4-0. Like those days might be done, or at least that's the attitude that Gary O'Neill was starting to see.
They're going to make it tough for you.
They're going to make it tough for you, Molineux.
They've got guys, the perfect kind of players for the counter attack.
Yeah,
Mateus Cunha is not bad.
Yeah,
Pedro Neto. Yeah, exactly. He's the one who plays the ball out to Pedro Neto for the goal, then squares it to Hwang. So yeah, I think probably both teams would take that result. Villa away in a derby.
You know, I think for Villa, it doesn't it doesn't diminish a lot of what they've done. They would think that they would like to be beating Wolves, but not losing those games is a positive when you've had some big wins. And now you just keep things moving. Just keep another point on the board. Just keep it moving. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, on to the next one. Yeah.
But yeah, that is all the fixtures. So thank you guys for listening.
Yes.
Make sure you tune in next week. We'll have another special episode. And we'll be counting down the top 10 Premier League summer transfers from the window just gone. So Spurs fans, make sure you tune in for that, because I reckon a couple of your guys might be in there. Chelsea fans, by law of averages, you should have some players in there, but I don't know if you'll have any. So yeah, thank you guys for listening, and we'll see you next week. Peace.